And howdy. Howdy. Welcome back to SciTrek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel.
Hello.
Hola!
We got mixed and matched all over the place.
Oh, shit, I got...
I guess we need to scoot. Wait, this way?
Sorry.
I don't have words on my face.
Well, welcome back to Sci-Fi Sundays. Y'all's favorite thing to see on Sundays. I mean, we're just nerding out, having a good time, of course.
Yeah.
Church. This is our church, Sci-Fi Church.
Exactly.
You know?
And this is our sci-fi church, and I'm still a heretic. How does that work out? Like,
if only the Halo show was good, and we could do the little T-pose and just do the
Well, if you remember, we have a religion already. Stargateism.
Jedi Knights.
That's right.
Halloween. Or are we talking Jedis?
I'm not sure what like the commandments of the Jedi Knights thing is, because there's got to be like a set of rules, isn't there?
Apparently, it's kill children.
Yeah.
I mean,
Can
only
we
they're
do-
annoying.
Can we make a Sith religion?
Sith religion might
Kill
be.
everybody but Palpatine. Yeah, that's the Sith religion.
It's effective.
Very, one rule. Kill everybody but
To have a religion, though, you need rules, or it's anarchy. So I just want to know what the rules are. And then Catholicism went like let's have loads of rules. Let's have rules for everything. What do you do if your wife cheats on you? You stoner. What if it's like there's the rule for everything, every situation, rules. Jedi Knights don't seem to have many rules. Buddhism is like the rules are. Everything's okay. Church of England is all the rules, but they sort of went, not really that bothered. So yeah, we need rules. Hey, there you go. There's a streaming. There's a video for you.
Well, y'all heard it here first. Rules are important.
Yes.
And speaking of rules, I'm going to break them. And I think because we have so much fun Stargate stuff to talk about, and if you haven't watched Jay's Tachyon Pulse video about Brad Wright doing this yet, put it on in the background. You have two screens. We know you do. Come on. But because we have so much good Stargate stuff to talk about, let's do a speed round and put what we usually do at the back end at the front round. What have you watched this week as fast as possible? We're not detailing stuff. If it's good, be like, woohoo, go see it, and then just skip past it. Sound like a plan?
I've mostly watched porn, but I've just like had a weird Star Trek porn. I watched a bit of Star Trek porn. That was good. Throw me there. What have I watched? I started watching The Big Bang Theory again, which is not really it's kind of science, right? But I've just loved it. I haven't watched it in years, so now I've just binged 5 series of The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, wow.
And I went into a Predator after watching the Predator, Killer of Killers, which I've watched now 3 times. I have gone on a bit of a Predator run as well, and I've just watched Predators, but I'm watching them in order, sort of thing. So yeah, I haven't really watched anything else this week. I haven't been to the cinema or anything. I think I've had COVID again now. For like the 5th second time, so I've not felt great this week. But anyway, that's why I've not had any video for like 3 days, because I can't be asked.
Well,
anyway, Sarah, what have you been watching? Have you been watching porn too?
No.
There is some Stargate porn out there if you want to watch it.
There is Stargate.
I'm not even joking. There's a porn movie that's about.
I'm sure it involves rings.
But halfway through, it just becomes a Stargate porn. Somebody sent me a link to it once going, have you seen the Stargate porn? I'm like, no. So I watched all of it. Anyway, go on, Sarah.
I don't need to. I'm watching Foundation, basically trying to get caught up on Foundation since season 3 is coming out next month. And I did watch Predator Killer of Killers. I think I mentioned that before, though. That's like in the last couple weeks. Need to catch up. I haven't watched this week's Murderbot yet, but so far still liking it.
I haven't watched Fridays.
Me either.
That's about it.
I'm watching that tonight.
Yeah.
When's Resident Evil come out? Not Resident Evil.
Resident Alien on Fridays too.
Resident Alien's out now, is it? Right.
Yep. We got 3 episodes.
I got to figure out which picking channel it's on over here though, because it's not on.
The first two were posted by the USA Network channel on YouTube for free.
Okay, so if I just go to on YouTube for free.
Yeah, YouTube for free.
I bet it's over here. I bet it's not on here. But it's fine. I've got Sky and another thing. I just have to go and figure out which channel it's on. Anyway, yeah, I'm loving Murderbot. Murderbot might be my favorite thing this year so far.
Yeah, it's good.
It's very good.
Oh, so me, right?
Stormy, you're up.
So I took a break from sci-fi and I watched this Netflix series called Abstract, The Art of Design, and it's about designers and their work. And it was on Netflix, but it kind of had the feeling of, I know, a Nat Geographic show. But then I watched all of Andor, seasons 1 and 2. Then I watched Rogue One. Then I watched The New Hope last night. Then I got caught up on Murderbot. I still avoided Daredevil. I've got it on my watch list, but I have not watched it, so just forgive me. And then I went back and I watched Doctor Who with Eccleston and the entire the Bad Wolf episodes, because I wanted to brush up on what the history was with Rose, peering into the time vortex, and get my brain acclimated to those ideas. I wanted to get a good refresh on those storylines. That's what I've been doing this week. And actually, no homework, absolutely nothing. Screwing around with photography for a little bit. That's it.
Oh, that's got to be nice.
Oh, here's the latest one. Here's my latest shot from a place called City of Rocks. City of Rocks here in New Mexico.
But there's only one.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Where's the city?
City in New Mexico.
I'll tell you what. I'll change. While you guys chat, I'll put in another background from another image. So let me go find it.
Hamlet of Rock.
Hamlet of Rock.
Rock Hamlet.
Right.
That sounds a good name for a band or something.
Like a band or an opera or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're the Hamlet of Rock.
A musical.
I guess real quick while Stormy's finding that, I've watched with my roommates 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later the last 2 days, which has been a lot of fun. So damn good. I don't think my roommates had seen Robert Carlyle in anything before, so I was very happy that a little zombie action was the first thing they saw. Now they got to watch Stargate Universe. Or Train Spotting. That's a little bit more important.
Yeah, what's Train Spotting?
Or Danny Boyle. That's such a hard sell. Oh no, got to watch a Danny Boyle movie. But outside of that, watched a little bit of Stargate, just playing some cards, and the new Resident Alien. Still haven't seen the Friday's Murderbot. And I think that's kind of it outside of just the usual Farscape as well, of course. But that's that's about it. Which Farscapetrion is on Saturdays for the time being. So if y'all are not Patreon members and want to come hang out on Saturday to watch some Farscape, Sarah and I are ready to hang y'all.
Yep.
I finally got through. I'm on season 2 at the moment.
Yeah? So we're season 2, episode 8.
Halfway 2? Oh, I bet we're in the same place.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've never seen it before, and I freaking love it so far.
Yeah. It's zany. It's fun.
The wizard dude, what is his name? Malice, whatever his name is. But the wizard guy is a little funky. But outside of that, it's pretty good.
And the best thing is, it just gets better. It's one of those shows. It doesn't really, at the season 4 maybe is a bit weak, but it just generally just gets better. It doesn't happen very often, does it? But
I'm bummed. I finally stopped calling Crichton Cam, so it's good.
Yeah, they could have given it a slightly different name, couldn't they? They could have called him like Billy or something, just to.
Oh yeah.
That's a bit similar in it, but
good shout out, Monk. Full Monty's awesome as well. I still haven't seen. Is it a TV show or a sequel movie that came out like a couple years ago? I don't remember.
Movie that came out about a year and a half ago. So I never saw it. Oh, he was good in that. Oh, you've got to watch Cracker if you get a chance in America.
Yeah, I don't know that
one. So good. Robbie Coltrane is genuinely amazing in it. A little bit before he appeared in Harry Potter. But yeah, he's genuinely good in it.
Oh, yeah.
Television.
Front of the poster. Wow.
Yeah, it's a good series. But anyway, do you want to mention Stargate at all, or should we not bother?
Now that we've jumped into all of the fun stuff that we've seen this week, one thing that I've seen 3 times in the last day is your video on Brad Wright talking about Stargate.
Oh, thank you. If you could keep doing that, that'd be great, and keep my views up. And if you could really make sure that you watch the advert all the way through.
Oh, you know I'm a little OCD about that stuff. I have to watch the full video, so you're getting your dollar's worth out of it. Don't worry.
Good. What's the trouble?
Which all of y'all should too.
I've started putting on the cuts from the live video I did, and I've already got 9 to put on. Just taking out the best bits of that bloody live video I did with Josh from CBR.
Yeah, that was great.
Not done
to
yet.
have him on regularly.
Yeah,
it was such a good conversation.
I
He
think
was really busy this past week, but hopefully we get some Star Wars again this week too.
Yeah. Well, get on him, because I think we should do a debate. Should Alex Kurtzman keep his contract or not? Because I actually think he probably thinks he probably should, and I think he really, really shouldn't. So I thought that'd be a good debate. Let's do that. Get him on. What are you going ooh for? I messaged you like a week ago suggesting it, and you.
I know. I have the attention span of a gnat, so it's nice whenever I get to hear it again and get excited about it.
You should have messaged him, asked.
Oh, I did. He already knows that. We've talked about that. I just am now remembering it.
You make my head hurt, Harris. Really do. I love you, but I often want to throttle you. from a love kind of thing. If you were my son, every so often you just go, pull your life together.
Well, do you know it's the Chevy Awards all over again?
Chevy Awards.
Well, you know what else has been making us do that?
We did that, and you said, "Oh, I was only watching your leg," and I'm pulling your leg, and I'm like, "You fucking right." Towards the end, you were the last maybe 1 or 2, maybe you did, but up until then, I saw your face. You had no clue what I was talking about.
Oh, let's not go there again.
Oh, let's.
Blood pressure was in.
Stormy and I will just be spectators.
They're gonna grab their popcorn buckets and hang out.
Anyway, sorry.
But yeah, the other thing that makes us want to laugh and cry and punch things, the wall, the air, anything close to us, is obviously the Stargate revival and the lack thereof so far. But now we have hope. Once again, if you haven't seen the Attack on Pulse video, go do that. But you want to give us just like the briefest little, I guess.
Well, like I said, we've always had hope, because I'm telling you that it's still on their schedule to do. It's just when.
Yeah.
But Brad Wright, while he was in Bonn in Germany, which is where the bonbons come from, which is weird. Those little sugary sweets. Strange, isn't it? I might make that up. It's like hamburgers. That's where the hamburgers come from. Hamburger in Germany. It's true, guys. You can Google it. But basically, he was talking about Stargate, and one of the things he said was he is absolutely certain that the people in charge at Amazon are intelligent people, which made me go, and that, like what he said, I mean, this is something we've been saying for a long time, that one of the reasons that Amazon bought MGM was because of Stargate. Well, I mean, we said during the merger, we were talking about that, saying how they'd identified 4 or 5 things they wanted to do. One's obviously Bond, which they still haven't done either, so we shouldn't really be surprised at Stargate, RoboCop, Legally Blonde 3, something 2001: Space Odyssey, something Forbidden Planet, and there was a couple of others, and I like Spaceballs 2. And actually, out of the list of all of the things they identified as important reasons why to buy MGM, the only thing they've done or in the process of doing is Spaceballs. They've done nothing else. But I mean, so we shouldn't really be shocked we haven't got a Stargate revival yet, because they've done nothing else. But yeah, Brad Wright was basically saying no small reason that's why they did it. And in his opinion, it's inevitable. It will happen at some point. It's just when and where. But Brad Wright is very clear, though, to say that the sources he's got at MGM are basically gone. They're not there anymore. Somebody joked in the comments earlier that the weird Brad Wright source for Stargate. To be honest, it's not far off true. So, I still get to talk to him every so often, and he's still interested to find out what's going on over at MGM. Just to follow up as well, I spoke to my MGM guy, just to reassure, just to confirm, and he has reassured. He basically confirmed, as far as he's aware, that just looks like a giant stone willy.
But that's another thing that was at City of Rocks. That's another rock, and it's like 40 foot tall.
It's
very phallic.
It is. You should see the testicles underneath, but it was really a vertical shot, and I didn't have a good shot. I was trying to get the testicles or the rockticles in the shot, but I couldn't.
God's boner. What the hell?
There's got to be like tectonic platicles or something. There's got to be some good.
We should run up to it instead of like.
No, it is gigantic. It is giant. It's gigantic.
Yeah.
This is a good conversation for chat.
Thank you.
The director. What I aware is that the director has an actor in mind. I might know who it is, but I'm not allowed to share. But the director's basically, and he is pitched to MGM Amazon, and my understanding is they're quite happy with it. So I think we'll get a Bond announcement in the next month or so.
Oh, sweet.
Awesome.
Might be a bit longer than that, to be fair, because they've got to sign. They won't announce it until he signs a contract.
Right.
But,
So a month
I understand
days.
that everyone's agreed that the director wants. At the end of the day, Amazon MGM weren't going to disagree with the director, were they? So, but I think they're pretty much decided. And I'm not sure, if I'm honest. But I'm not going to say more than that because I'll throw it out. But I'm not
saying not sure makes me think it's one of the particular ones that is on that list.
I think it's a new name.
Ooh.
I don't think this person has been mentioned, but to be honest, it's been a bit of a. I'm not teasing you, mate. I'm literally not allowed to say. I shouldn't have even brought it up. I'm sorry.
Brought what up?
Nothing. What was that?
The person that told me is watching. I'm sorry.
Huh?
I know all sorts. I'm not allowed to say.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to stop telling. I've got to stop talking to people. This really annoys me.
So Amazon is
okay. All right, Stormy, you're just doing this on purpose now.
Now, literally, this is on the other side of Dick Rock. I call it golden.
No, you are joking. So
I got a picture for that too. I call it Fertility Gulch because literally it's the dick's on one side, the vagina's on the other, and it's in a place called City of Rocks, New Mexico. And I just
is the bit in the middle called Gooch Rock?
It's a tiny pebble at the bottom that no one can find apparently.
There's a spot rock. If you run up and tickle it, does the vagina rock go?
It said butt crack. Now I do have a picture of Butt Crack Canyon, but I really don't think you want to see that. Just listen.
That's for the Only Rocks fan page or something like that. It's
full of mud.
And I was just saying his pictures looked like that Ansel Adams or whatever.
I do have this in black and white. I can show you some good Ansel stuff, but
space vagina. It's the Borg from season 2 of Picard. Right. Anyway, so Stargate.
The series that Amazon had going, yeah.
As soon as the actor signs a contract, and I'll have an interesting story about it actually, if you remind me when we're allowed to talk about it.
Yeah.
About how the director got to him. Anyway, I could also say the actor said no at first. Okay, I'm not going to say anything else. What was I saying? So yeah, Stargate. I talked to the MGM guy. He's basically said, as far as he's aware, the movie is still the plan, but they've got a big problem in California in general at the moment. This will be filmed in the United States, apparently, if they do it.
Yeah.
I say that, or England. It will definitely be one of the two. but there is a big problem with that basically, since the fires and since a couple of other things have happened, production has decreased.
Yeah.
So a lot of studios have actually let people go. And so even though there's physically studio space available, there aren't the crews to then do it aren't as available. So how that happens, I don't know. But
it's not one thing, it's another.
Yeah. So, but that's going to be across the board. I mean, haven't we just seen the slowest quarter in like 20? I think it's only COVID in the last like 20 or 30 years that's had a slower production at a time or whatever than the last quarter of actually stuff being actually in production at the moment. It's had a massive decline. And even Amazon are struggling with that. Amazon's budgets have had to be decreased. They're spending £1 billion a year on movies, but even they're like, we've got to slow down. Amazon have had a huge financial problem since COVID. They massively overstretched themselves, and now are having to sort of get everything back sensible. But yeah, I think Apple are the only ones that can sort of like not lower their budget. But they've always been really sensible with their budget anyway.
Yeah.
So, but
They have a lot of cash.
Yeah, I'm being told it's just a matter of pulling the trigger. But I was also told apparently Mike Hopkins has gone in to MGM Amazon, and he's just like I imagine there with a big ass cigar going, do that, do this, do that. Apparently he's just flipped everything upside down, and they never know. Oh my God, there's a penis with a vagina. It's aimed at it.
I present to you Fertility Gulch.
Oh no.
That should
Literally in the same valley. It's just
the title of that should be Foreplay. Foreplay Rocks. Or something like that.
there's a campground right there, so God knows what's going on in the campground.
Yeah, I went to San Diego once in an RV, and we pulled up to the place we were going to park, and it said adults only. And we're like, we're in America. Sound about rednecks. We're in trouble. I didn't know that like that was a thing that you had adult only RVs. So we went for somebody to knock on the door and go, hey, how you doing? You want to throw your keys in this bowl? And we were like, no. Didn't happen, unfortunately. But yeah, so
he's just taking pictures of nature.
Nature's naturing.
Yeah.
So I got up at 2 a.m., drove 2 hours through the desert, got there at like 7 o'clock, about 30 minutes before the sun came up over the eastern mountains, just to get this shot. So just to take a dick pic, that's what I did. 2 hours. About
There could be worse.
miles. 300 some miles.
An Earth dick pic. Okay. I don't even know how to go with that.
Can we talk about butt plugs now? I can probably find something that looks like a butt. I do have something that looks like a butt plug from the Bistinai wilderness in northern New Mexico.
Right. So me and Stormy haven't done many videos together, but for the love of God, we haven't mentioned butt plugs on this channel for about 3 months.
No, we haven't. I was thinking of that the other day when Stormy was on. I was like, we haven't mentioned that.
Let me go find that image. You'll love it.
Yeah. Months we've managed to get away from butt plugs.
Months.
Months
I
and months.
ruined it in no time.
Yeah. There's a reason why I don't do lives on Tacky on Pulse Rock, because we do, but also because I don't need to have that conversation anymore. So I'm really dehydrated. Sorry, I'm coming off this bloody COVID, and I'm just drinking everything. I didn't really feel that unwell with COVID, by the way. I was just really tired. And my boss was like, "I'm sick. I've got COVID." And he goes, "How sick are you?" Not sick enough not to work. Can I just have a nap in the afternoon? She was like, "Yeah, okay. If you don't go off sick." Yay! I've got COVID again next week. I'm gonna have another week off. Yay! Yay! We'll just have afternoon naps. But yeah. So what do you guys think? I mean, the basic truth is, and this is going to sound like a cop out, but the basic truth is they've got a movie ready to go, but nobody knows what Mike Hopkins is going to do. And he may just come in and go with his big cigar, Stargate series, do it. I don't know where he's from with that accent, but that's just the truth. I was going to say something else. He came in and surprised everybody because he's ordered something, and I can't remember what it is now. Well, it says Legally Blonde 3. I don't know. I can't remember. But apparently he just come in and just ordered some new show, and everyone was like, "Are we working on that?" So, like, was that ever in the plans? And my options is going to do it. So they're doing it, but I can't remember what it was. But anyway, so what do you guys think?
Keeps the hope alive.
What's sorry?
Keeps the hope alive.
I honestly think, and I agree with Brad, it's definitely going to happen. 100% going to happen. It's just I would bet my children's life on it will happen. I know, I don't do that. I will bet Harris's life on that this will happen at some point. Yeah, I'm more comfortable with that. Let's do that. And it's just a matter of when they pull the trigger, when they decide the priority is sort of thing, when they actually prioritize it. I am told though that they will not do a hard reboot. There is absolutely no chance. Apparently, Mike Hopkins is dead set against it.
That's what feels like the biggest piece of news out of this, honestly, is that they're stuck on that revival, which is great news.
Well, the thing was, apparently Jen Psaki was pushing for a hard reboot, and it was Hopkins that stopped her. They're basically saying, no, you're not doing it. There's no chance. So now she's gone and butt plug. Fuck's sake.
I'll go back to the solitary background that I had earlier.
What do you think about Stargate, Stormy?
Man, I had an in-depth conversation with Harris last week about a direction I'd love to see Stargate go in, but
Did you just say erection again?
Huh?
Oh, direction. I thought you said erection. And I was like, we got away from that for like 30 seconds, then we came straight.
No,
Direction.
erection. I didn't say erection. He's got this on his mind.
Yeah.
Anyway, man, I'm just anything. Poor Harris. I'm up for anything at Stargate. You know, I mean, I am a starved fan. I've got Stargate dehydration, and I'd be happy with what.
So do well.
Now, I would want to have something that has staying power, that would last a long time, that would be firm in the fandom, but
hard to make.
I mean, just give me something, dude. I mean, yeah.
Thrusting themselves into the orifice
exactly
over and over again.
Yes.
And you know, and every week they go through the world's biggest simulation of a cock ring. I'm just fine with it. I'm done.
I'm going home.
The infinite orifice. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what Stargate Infinity actually is. It won't make sense.
Even if it's an episode about somebody getting their eye of Ra bleached, I'm fine with it.
How about if we've got an Academy type show, Stargate 90210? Would we be okay with that? Yeah, remember Power Rangers. I think we need an SG-1 Stargate Command.
Yes.
Series.
In all seriousness, I think you really do have to have a Stargate Command at the center of the show. Even if the new show is in like a post-disclosure world, I still think it needs to,
Well, now that I guess the second half of the title that we have for today's video, obviously we know Brad Wright talked about the revival. He said we're doing a revival. It's very much so looking like a movie. My little movie-loving self is very happy about. But I also think that sets the stage up for Stargate success versus let's dip our toes in the water. This is them saying, we know what we have. We're going to do something good. What does that look like? What does it look like when we finally get the movie back? If it is truly a revival, do we start with the SGU stuff, do you think? What if we're going to put ourselves in the brain of maybe Mark Fergus, hopefully, fingers crossed, somebody along those lines.
Actually, I don't think it will be.
So somebody along those lines, somebody different. If we're putting our brains in their shoes for a little bit, how do we think the best way to start it is? Stormy and I were talking last week in depth about like that post-disclosure world. Does that disclosure mean we've just disclosed the Stargate, or like we've kind of mentioned before, does that mean, okay, we know aliens are real. There's aliens in space travel.
Yeah.
But we're not going to tell you about these magic gates back here that literally are a portal to a new world. You don't know about teleportation yet, but we'll get you space travel kind of deal. What gauge do you think is best? And if
Sarah, let me ask you this then. Okay, so if they do post disclosure, I think that becomes more hardcore sci-fi because it's more futuristic as everything. Is it still Stargate?
If everybody knows?
Yeah, if it's post thingy and everyone knows about the gates and everyone knows aliens are thing, the thing. I mean, Brad Wright said that was the only logical way to do it. But the point of Stargate was that it could be real. Would that be a very different tone TV show? Would it be more like Star Trek than Stargate? That was a video I did years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not a fan of it, everybody knowing, because, well, Harris and I got into it in an outpost about the politics of that. What is, in terms of like, who's going to control it? Is there going to be wars over controlling it? How do you balance all of that out?
I do like that idea because we saw that in bits, didn't we? Would there be actually conflict on Earth because of the Stargate?
Yeah, that's what I think. So I think it's better to keep it a secret. Maybe like, first world governments know about it. Like they've kind of already shown in the show. Yeah. So, but I just can't see the peace being kept because it just seems like, like China or Russia or whatever is going to want control of that. I mean, is the US going to control it? Are we going to create a whole separate group? I mean, they kind of were doing that in the show, but is there going to be is it going to be on like a neutral site that's controlled by a group of nations or something like that?
I see. Stormy, is that a little bottle of Coke or are you massive?
No, this is a 12-ounce.
So it's a tiny little bottle of Coke and you're a normal sized human being.
That's correct.
We've never met face to face. You might be 19 feet tall for all
I could be.
Okay, good. Just to check because it was like tiny little bit of Coke.
Well, so the reason I get the smaller bottles is that's about all I consume, and otherwise I don't want to like have it just sit around and go flat. So I get the smaller bottles. They also I can fit 3 of them in my lunchbox for work. So
one up your something else. Anyway.
Size matters.
So what do you think about Stargate though? Close. That is the question.
Okay, so I've got my fantasy scene of Stargate. Is that whatever the series is, if it's in a post-disclosure world, the whole series starts out just like it did with in the film Daniel Jackson. The camera's coming up the staircase. You see a sign, talking about his lecture of the Middle Kingdom, and it goes into the room. It's the same. I mean, shot for shot.
Ooh, I like that.
Daniel Jackson in a post-disclosure world talking about giving the very same lecture he did, only now the audience knows he was correct. He wasn't just some lackadaisical, failed academic. Daniel Jackson was telling the truth, and we see it as like the beginning of his vindication. It's post-disclosure. He's giving that same lecture. About the pyramids are a whole lot older, humans did and I show because I really want to see Daniel Jackson's vindication of all the stuff he's in.
Yeah, I like the circular nature.
That would be great. But again, I don't know about disclosing it.
Do you know like how they have Q&A at these things when they have a microphone at the thing and there's Daniel Jackson there? Can you imagine the Q&A? Like, excuse me, it's very nice to meet you, Daniel Jackson. How many times did you die? And what you're saying is that you became a god and then came back. Seriously?
Well,
that would be amazing.
Stormy and I didn't mention.
What?
If he reveals that, though, he might not.
It could be a world where there's partial disclosure.
There'd have to be partial disclosure. You couldn't tell everyone how close the Earth came to destruction.
Right.
There are some things that just have to be a little more hidden, a little bit more known, something that the chat keeps bringing up, and Daniel Jackson would be vindicated in a huge way.
Yeah.
But what the chat keeps bringing up is, and I'm going to add a little extra point to it, what if the world knows about it? Then there would be a religious factor to include there. Would there not be? What's the revelation of the Stargate mean for religion? What is the cultural impact of Stargate being revealed? Way too many good storylines. And because, like poetry, it tends to repeat itself, as the old George Lucas saying goes. Daniel Jackson is essentially Paul Atreides or Anakin Skywalker for the Stargate universe. He's died and come back multiple times. He's Space Jesus for Stargate.
Space Jesus.
He's Space Jesus for Stargate. The only known person that has ascended in human history, technically. Does that
we know
make
of
him a religious figure on Earth? If that's let out, does he not only become a leader and, hey, I know all of this Egyptology and all these different histories of all these different cultures and all these different things.
Right.
Not only that, we've met the descendants of these cultures in different places along the world.
Right.
I'm the only person who has actually done all that and been killed, come back to life, let myself die naturally, and didn't actually die. Became one with the spirit world, whatever the hell you want to mount it up to.
Yeah.
Does our boy go a little rogue and get a little power gone to his head?
No, I don't think so. Sorry,
I don't know.
Other cultures have seen him as gods. He goes through the Stargate, and everyone think, oh, he came through the Chapel Eye, he must be a god, and then he, his first instinct is to just shut that shit down.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if I think the only vindication he really wants is tell the people in academia that I was right, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You were wrong.
But I think an episode where like Daniel Jackson becomes a religious figure. Do you know what I mean? Because that's like, like in the Matrix, in the second Matrix, how Neo was sort of like worshipped. Americans are stupid enough to start worshipping Daniel Jackson.
There could be people all across the globe.
There would be people that would.
Oh yeah.
In the Bible bit, they'll be looking at their Bibles going, oh, well, that's all outdated. Daniel. Because he would be Space Jesus. I'm like, he died because Jesus died once and cracked on a 2,000-year pigging thing.
Yeah.
Daniel's done it like 6 times, so he was 6 times better than Jesus.
I don't know. I mean, it could be. I mean, I could see different sects breaking out from the Jackson cult. I mean, because the one of the biggest problems Daniel Jackson has is he can speak Farsi. And that seems incredibly a hot potato in today's fucking climate.
Yeah. I don't know if they dive into that aspect of it, but one way or another, even if he doesn't want a religion to be formed around him, like Jay was saying, there's gonna be people on the planet that do it.
I just think that would be a good episode or two. And then like the religious leader of it turns out to be a Goa'uld, using it for his own thing, because we know there's loads of Goa'uld on Earth. There's a few, regardless of how many times I had an argument with some silly Billy on here that all the Goa'uld are dead.
No.
Even when I got Brad Wright to tell him they're not, he still didn't believe it.
Well, it only takes the simple thought of they said the oh my god, what are they called? Excuse me, the Goa'uld hierarchy of leadership. The
system lords are gone.
The system lords, the system lords are gone.
Yes,
we saw probably 3 or 4 different like Kronos. Of course, Cronus was a Greek titan, so not some Egyptian god or something like that. Which means there's got to be a whole bunch of Greek versions of these guys. There's got to be the maybe Aztec gods, all these different type of people from across the globe, which have been heralded as gods over the years. They might not have been system lords at the time, but they're still out there to some degree.
Yeah.
So a slightly major problem with Stargate is that from the movie, and we know that this was sort of confirmed in the series as well, that the gate was buried in ancient Egypt times. But we saw gods that had influenced Earth from after the gate should have been buried.
That's true.
So how did that happen?
Space travel.
Maybe they just showed up, didn't use a gate. I guess would be the only. That's the headcanon, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what?
Maybe the stories of those gods just sort of permeated through, and they actually were before. But Ra was supposed to be from the movie. Ra was the only one on it. But anyway, to let the story happen.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the gate being buried, real quick, I'm gonna just do the slightest little interruption because I don't think Jay's seen this yet, and I'm very excited to show it to you. I think I've shown it to everybody else so far.
Keep your pants on. Oh my God, this is a family show.
Is it?
It's another.
When is this a family show?
Rock boobies coming out of it.
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
showing.
Oh, nice. Is that?
This is a thing I ordered, and I finally got it a little bit ago. It is film from the original Stargate movie, and the film piece that I got is them unburying the gate in Egypt.
Nice.
That's cool.
I like that. I love those sorts of things.
Very excited.
I nearly bought one that was the Predator, but my wife at the time said I wasn't allowed. But then I divorced her.
Do it now.
And then killed her and ate her. No, I didn't.
Things happen.
We don't need to know that.
Not like that. I murdered her, then ate her like a cannibal. I didn't. But I wanted to.
Thank you, Keith.
Yeah, I'm quite jealous of that. Can I have it?
I see. I literally was waiting for you to come to the States to show you. Now that I completely forgot to show you whenever you said you weren't going to be able to make it. And like,
yeah,
one day I have to actually remember about it. Now that we've been talking about the gate being.
I'm not allowed to fly again.
From now?
Not because of any legal thing. I don't think I should come to America until Trump leaves office anyway, because I'm publicly been a bit negative about it, and I'm not sure I'd be allowed in. And I don't like cavity search.
Well, yeah, never mind. The jokes I was going to say probably shouldn't be made on air. Never mind. I was going to go a little too Texan with it. I was going to protect you.
God knows where we go with that.
God, I love that phrase.
You
I
know,
go too British sometimes, but it's morally I apologize for things I don't need to and drink too much.
Someone sent a funny little thing to me yesterday. It was about like Avatar: The Last Airbender or whatever, and it said the 4 nations on the U.S. and it showed like the Northeast being like airbenders, the bottom southeast being firebenders, Northwest being waterbenders, and Southwest being earthbenders, and it just showed Texas, and it just said Texas bender. We're like, we don't know what it is, but it's something. I was like, I'll take it.
Yeah, but the San Francisco benders was something completely different, and that we shouldn't probably go into.
We can go into that. I used to live in San Francisco for quite some time.
Yeah.
I have lots of stories.
Sorry, do you guys know what British people call benders?
I think I have an idea.
There was a bathhouse once that had a lot of vendors in it.
It's definitely what Sarah was thinking.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to discuss it. Full disclosure.
It's not an appropriate term to use anyway, so don't say it.
Oh, damn it!
Yeah, straight up. I think I will always argue that was the biggest problem with SGU.
Right. They were starting to put a little humor in towards the end.
Eli always had some,
but
but one character with specific quips that are like, okay, he's trying to make us laugh. I feel like Eli's problem with the comedy in season 1, I'm glad they actually kind of fixed it in season 2, but that Eli comedy in season 1 was, I'm saying something to try to make y'all laugh.
Yeah.
We're supposed to laugh at the awkwardness that nobody laughed at him trying to tell a joke, and it was like, all right,
Didn't
that can't
really
be
work.
the only joke in different forms over and over again.
Yeah, but I mean, towards the end of season 2, Eli was appearing in it less and less. I mean, he wasn't in the first season. He was definitely the central character. Everything else sort of was around him, really. Ways. I mean, even to the point of using the keynotes to, do his little diaries and stuff. They very much used him as the central character. By the end of the second season, he wasn't, and that it had started to go in a very different way.
A little more rushy.
Yeah, well, to a point. I mean, I saw David Blue talk about the ones that he was saying, like he realized basically, and he went to to Brad Wright, and people are saying, "Oh, where's my character going?" And they sort of explain it to him, and he sort of said, "I don't like this and I don't like that." And I've heard since from people, and we'll say this is a rumor, but it's not. I was 100% told that the writers could not stand David Blue, because he kept coming in and doing that. I want to do this, I want to do that, and they were just like, "You fucking do as you told me." But yeah, so yeah, but I think his character was far less central. And what I think is, you need to have humor. I say this a million times, and I've always said this because I've lived parts of it. The worse things get, the more people need humor to sort of cope. And I know this may be more of a British thing, but we take the piss when we're stressed, scared, whatever else. And I don't know if that's as American, but you know, we use sarcasm, we use we will joke about, we have very black humor, very, very dark humor when we're, you know, panicking, you know, when things are scary. And I don't know if that comes from the Blitz or just, you know, but yeah, dark humor is so central to our culture, and I want to see that Stargate.
Do you think as a development from the Blitz, a change in a British culture from the Blitz, is the dark humor to get through all that horror?
I don't know if we had it before, but I mean, I imagine it was just an evolution of the sort of thing. But I think being attacked during World War II definitely changed us as a culture. And don't forget, it wasn't just the Blitz; it was the entire, during the Battle of Britain or what have you. The entire country was getting harmed, and you know, we went through something pretty horrendous. But then the Germans did as well when we, you know, like started carpet bombing them, and they've got no sense of humor at all. So it all even.
Who knows?
Actually, the Germans do. They just do it in a very different way. They're very dry sense of humor, the Germans.
Yeah, it's very, very, very dry. Yeah.
But yeah, it's well, you can argue again that I don't know what the Japanese sense of humor is like, but they went through. I do think there's an element of, though, our culture. Maybe it's more a Victorian times thing. Actually, our culture is very reserved. And very much through Victorian times in particular, there was like a set of rules on how people were supposed to behave and stuff. And I think we've sort of carried that on in lots of ways. And, you know, stiff upper lip, and you're not supposed to show your emotion too much. And so we're quite reserved. So sarcasm is a way of sort of like an irony. Is a way of almost like doing that without breaking our breaking the facade that we are calm. But we're not. And Americans never had that. So you guys are more, I would say Aussies as well. Aussies went completely the other way. They got away from the empire, and so they just sort of went, let's start a shrimp on the barbie and I'll get fucked up. And that was the worst Australian accent ever. But you know, I mean, they just come, their cultures went completely the opposite direction because they were getting away from it, maybe. And these things evolve and they build, don't they? But yeah, we're still very reserved. And like, if I tell a joke, I can't laugh at it because that is incredibly rude. You know, so you don't laugh at your own jokes. That would be really rude. Be like, oh, look, he thinks he's funny. But anyway, what are we talking about?
Well, humor. I got a good little question I think that we might be able to kind of pop back in there with, because humor is going to be important no matter what with Stargate. They balanced it so damn well originally and perfected it with SGA. Lost a little bit of it with SGU. I think we hope that they know they need to do that. We were talking about the way people would react to disclosure on Earth. And mostly in the sense, like you said, Jay, does that mean it's more of a Star Trek show? Are we in Battlestar Galactica now? Like, is this much more SGU
Stargate's done
Battlestar
Galactica. Stargate's already done Battlestar Galactica. It's called SGU.
Oh, yeah. So
maybe it's Star Trek's turn?
Well, are we going to be... Obviously, we have the Asgard technology, so is that to some degree readily available to the public? What is readily available to the public? How different is it? then what was so cool about Stargate originally is, hey, this could happen in real time, essentially, and it's fairly believable to that degree, you know. Muggles Cakes, which is hilarious name, by the way. I think Stargate was so successful because they could make pop culture references to the time it was made.
Yeah.
Does the place where we leave Stargate make that unfeasible as well? And now, because it's a bigger show and it's one of the tent poles that Amazon is going to be looking forward to, they don't necessarily want to make a bunch of pop culture references now, right? Because that means they're limiting the amount of actors they can hire for the future.
Well, I mean, well, for one thing, would you just do a Stargate series that was off-world and avoid all these problems and just make it a Stargate, more of a hardcore sci-fi sort of show like Star Trek, Star Wars, something like that, but do it off-world and just avoid these problems? Because they are figuring out how to get around this is a little bit awkward and still make it feel like a Stargate show. But SGU did it. Remember? No, sorry, SGA did it. SGA was a hardcore sci-fi show, and it was off-world, surrounded by alien technology, looked completely different to the SGC, and they still got away with it. They because it still felt like Stargate because it had the core principles.
Right.
Stargate DS. That was perfect.
Does Atlantis almost act like DS9 as you were? It's a space station in a sense.
Yeah.
I think Atlantis will be the new Stargate Command. I think it'll be sat on the moon, like.
That's a good idea.
No, well, that was Malotzi's idea. I stole it off him. But that was one of the things for Malotzi's SGU movie. That the opening shot was going to be somebody in an astronaut suit stood on the moon, like it's like one small step for man, and then it was going to pan across. Actually, I think it was supposed to be Shepard. You can see Shepard through the visor, and then it pans across, and it's Atlantis on the moon, and it's the new Stargate Command. So, like you were saying, it's a neutral place. So Stargate is become neutral. So there isn't a Stargate on the Earth; it's on the moon.
Well, you bring up an interesting point that I've noticed, and I think this is only because I'm over 60. Is that growing up, we had a lot of the frontier was the moon. And now in modern sci-fi, the frontier's not the moon anymore. We've been there, we've landed also, we've got stuff orbiting, we're going to plan more missions there, again. But now the frontier is Mars or beyond that in terms of like contemporary sci-fi, not like Dune sci-fi, which is a different animal. And because you see that in, you definitely see that in The Expanse. That's what it's all about. You also see that in Andy Weir's new book, Project Hail Mary. And so, Stargate Outpost, something like that, the idea that moon is no longer the frontier. It's just a way station. It's another point on the Pony Express that goes someplace else.
So my Stargate fan fiction that I've never got round to writing, and somebody will steal it. But it was going to start on the Hammond BC 305 Hammond, and captained by the chick whose name I've forgotten from the
Jennifer
Haley, yeah. So it's going to be
young,
and the Hammond was having a refit, so it wasn't like up to 100%. And then they detected an energy signature on Mars, and a Lucian Alliance vessel was on its way at high thingy, and there was no other vessels in the region. So the Hammond has to get to Mars quickly, and then they find an ancient Stargate, basically, that they've never seen before, connected to a completely different set of gates. And I think I was going to go interdimensional with it, if I remember right. I think my plan was to go interdimensional, so it wasn't a normal Stargate; it was actually an interdimensional Stargate.
Okay.
Thing, and that was, but I never got further than that. That was my story plan for a Stargate thing, and they could do something like that.
Team up with someone to write that fanfic, because somebody was detailing essentially the same thing to a degree out last week, but
Yeah.
Have you stolen my story idea, Stormy?
No.
I did put it on.
After the stream.
I did tell people about it when I was trying to write.
Let her rip.
Mhm.
Talk after the stream.
But yeah, I need to write it. I've even bought myself a new Piggy keyboard to use on my thingy to try to write, but I just don't have time. It's really hard.
Mike asked a good question that brings up a good point. Isn't that just kind of the Expanse, though?
The Expanse there was so much stuff on the Expanse, but how was that got doing through the Expanse? There was no interdimensional stuff in the Expanse.
There was this portal to wherever.
That layer that they go through that pisses off the other aliens, that's kind of interdimensional.
Yeah, no, I was thinking more we've had interdimensional stuff with, like the gate of the window thing. Sorry, but anyway, sorry. Yeah. I'm gonna run. 2 reasons. I've drank too much water.
Stay hydrated.
But it's getting a bit later and I need to eat.
Yeah.
So but you guys have got all the information. I've emptied my brain out into you. And Stormy, I'm really enjoying your new hobby of taking pictures of porn stones.
Thank you.
So,
porn stones. There we go.
Porn stone. Cool. But guys, thank you. I will see you next weekend.
See you, Jay. Lots of love.
Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, I'm on top again.
Oh my God. No. You're out from beneath the text.
Yes. I'm free.
Didn't they open the gates to their... some gates have done... Haven't they... I guess we have seen that a little bit. So there's...
Well, there's time traveling, and then... Did they ever go to... Oh, I guess there was a thing, because there was that episode where we get to see the alternate universe Frasier, and remember... We talked about this episode. I can't remember what the name of it.
The alternate universe McKay, all those.
Yeah.
They're not rocks, they're minerals.
What was the name of that portal stone that went to the... Was there a name? Did they touch it and they flip? What was it? Did they have a name for it? Or was
the mirror? Yeah. What mirror was it?
Mirror.
The mirror. There's.
Is that the name of the episode? I don't know. But the one where Daniel goes over, right? And then that's when he realizes that Apophis is going to attack or whatever. He comes back with that information. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Great episode, concept-wise. A little funky to watch, but really good one.
Yeah.
Plus the crystal skulls.
Crystal skulls.
Nothing was ever done with those.
It was like
a one-off thing. I mean, we never heard about like Daniel's grandfather ever again.
Yeah.
But he went off with the aliens or whatever, right? But
you know what?
Brought him back.
That would be interesting. What if those aliens, they seemed pretty all-powerful to some degree. What if those are the planet builders that his grandfather found?
Oh, that would be an awesome tie-in. Yeah, there you go.
And
that would make sense.
Just to, I guess, add on to that thought, and to add on to the little thing we were talking about earlier, so many unfinished storylines, so many.
True.
But just to add on to the religious aspect of people wanting Daniel Jackson to be that religious figure, because we know that's going to happen if that's the case. If public knowledge gets out that this dude is literally reascended, and it's called Ascension, you know that's going to be a trigger word, and some of the biggest religions on the planet might even say, second coming's right here. We didn't know it, but he's right here. You know,
I could see it as another crusade.
Something like that
is different than your Daniel Jackson.
But even if he doesn't want that, and Daniel Jackson's huge on no, stop this. Imagine his grandfather coming back from the aliens and saying, "Hey,
what the hell's wrong with you?
You should take over. You're the person who knows best for your species.
Right?
Do it." Everybody else has time and time again shown up. They'd rather blow up a star. Oh, Jack's just going to go in there and blow some heads up or something like that. Daniel's been the voice of reason the entire time. The planet builders might literally suggest him taking over the planet in a religious sense. And would that be enough to convince Daniel? Because that's something he doesn't.
I don't see Daniel ever wanting to do that. I think he's too humble. But,
Which
I mean, we did see him in that one episode where the child was showing him like, oh, that episode, exactly. That's what I was thinking of. So we did see that, but in the end, he did like see the light and was like, yeah, don't want to do that. So he's kind of been there already, at least in a vision or a dream or whatever you want to call it.
I think that would be the thing.
I just don't think he'd want to do it.
Well, I don't think so either. I guess the caveat would be, if his grandfather, who should totally be over 100 and probably be passed away by now, like Panther Pickle's saying, if the planet builders, what if that grandfather ascends to a different plane even higher than the ancients and is on the level of planet builders now, and then comes back and grandpa convinces Daniel? Like that, I think would be the more interesting thing where, hey, Daniel doesn't want this. And we might have even had like a whole half a season or a season of him saying, no, 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 no.
Mm-hmm.
And then the planet builder comes and says something. I don't know. It'd be interesting.
I could see his grandfather trying to do it himself, and Daniel has to stop him.
Okay.
There's something here.
Which that might be a reason for ancients to actually start playing inside the galaxy again and become a player instead of just an observer.
Mm-hmm.
That would be interesting.
If there's a series, on the ancients where they are key cast members, it would almost would it be too much? It'd almost be like a series of Star Trek with just Qs. Would it be too much? Because they could do anything.
Right.
Yeah, but like Daniel is the one with restraint. And this is a great point. Daniel spent too long fighting false gods to try to become one.
Right. I agree.
Would he be false though? He wouldn't be false. He does everything the Goa'uld try to pretend to be able to do. By all definitions of what people consider lowercase God.
He's still not a god, and I'm not even sure the ancients or the builders are gods. They're just more highly evolved beings.
Our feeble human brains would think of as a god, maybe. Though.
Right.
That's true. Because if you do a divinity study on what God is in terms of the eyes of humans, there's almost a different definition for every person that's religious on the face of the earth. How in the world would you even?
Mm-hmm.
You got major subsects. You got Christianity, Islam, and you got Buddhism, and you have Judaism. But it's just, and all those religions have much different views and opinions on what God is.
Mm-hmm.
Man. I would think it would be cause to just kill Daniel Jackson.
Oh yeah, there were definitely, especially I think. Anyway, I don't want to name specific religions, but I think there's definitely some religions that are definitely like, oh, that's not what our religion is, so you must die.
Well, and what if an organization like the Trust or the NID were to start backing that kind of group of people that headed up that religion or whatever, so on and so forth?
Yeah, I think doing the religion thing is a bad idea. No, I could see there being a religion formed around the Stargate, but it'd be kind of like a small sort of, just another religion on planet Earth, that just involves the Stargate. Yeah.
Well,
Stargate is something that people can touch and feel. It's like it could turn into like a religious icon. Like, that's there's a little chapel someplace in Turkey that has somebody claims it was a sliver of the original cross. And people make pilgrimages to go see this sliver of wood that's really not part of it. Here we have a Stargate that people traverse the galaxy with. And so that would be something people can touch, people can feel, people can rally toward. And that's a different kettle of fish because we
Yeah.
haven't seen that kind of religion on Earth before.
We wouldn't, as a people, have ever had like an actual visual thing to tie in that much belief of something in a long time. If that were the case, would that open up like what you just mentioned a second ago with the trust or like the NID or somebody like that try to tie on to another subsect of people to kind of fight back against that? And if that were the case, if the trust is trying to fight back against a lot of like what could be gaining power on Earth, would the Lucian Alliance and the trust become allies? Would that open up some kind of spy networks?
Yeah. That seems like a natural fit, those two things.
Yeah.
That would work. Yeah.
Here it is. We have the Stargate. And since the discovery of the Stargate and how to use it, all the technologies that has been spun off from the Stargate and how these technologies can improve life on Earth. Let's say, you don't want to live your whole life in a sarcophagus, but it'll cure your bone cancer, and get, and all of these things. And the thing that the three of us, which are all big Stargate fans, the first thing we look at is the divisiveness of religion and how it could screw everything up. And if that is not a testament to the human condition, I don't know what is. But here's all these things that it can help with: energy, clean air, clean water, food for days, getting rid of cancer in children and old people.
Right. And that's why they'd fight over getting control of it.
Yeah.
Not just the the religion, there'd probably be that, but I'm just from a political power, who wants the power standpoint.
Well, if the Lucian Alliance were to get a hold of a sarcophagus, that's the perfect peace offering to the trust to say, hey, we want access to your planet now. Hey, we want access to this and this and that. And this is our offering to kind of bridge the gap. Charge people on your planet. See what they'll buy for this, or see what they'll rent it out for.
And if
Elysium had that same kind of thing, right? And Elysium, they had that machine that would heal people or whatever.
Yeah.
Then you get that kind of dynamic maybe going, But anyway, haves and have-nots.
And every time you see like religion control something, it leads to oppression and war every single time. It's like, it is almost a cliche at this point, Yeah. Like, the events going on this last week, all of it is religious related. All of it. Whose God is best? And you got everybody, you got the whole big triangle in it. And so that I think it's a sad testament to humanity, but I think Sarah's right. That is how the story will drift to if you actually do keep to how we humans are. And I think that would be the basic of the conflict of any kind of new series where there is disclosure.
Yeah, there's just a lot of poignant topics that could be handled throughout that. Obviously, there's a whole lot of dicey topics that you could get entered there as well. Yeah. But Stargate always did get pretty damn close to the dicey topics. And I think that RDA kind of humor helped dial those things down a little bit and made them more digestible for your general audience. That I feel like it's still doable, but it needs to be handled very everyone's going to have a different idea of what perfectly or what well even would be in that sense, but there's a way to write that without stepping on a whole bunch of toes and also opening people up to ideas that they might not usually be excited to explore. And obviously religion is a little dicey, but it's the first thing that everybody in the comments and all of us we're like, oh yeah, wait a second, there's that big looming kind of piece of everything right here. I do like the idea of Daniel coming back and giving that speech to start a whole new movie off, like you were saying earlier, Stormy, and like we talked about, because that comes full circle. But I also do,
Yeah.
as much as it is dicey to talk about the religion and to kind of delve into it as well, that's right where Stargate started.
Oh,
That's
Harris.
It comes full circle in that idea as well, because religion is what started Stargate.
Yeah.
Harris, what if that scene opens, before they go into the hall, there's this outdoor protest of all the, it looks like Portland or something, where, there's all of these conflicting religious ideas and, religious signs, and everyone's protesting back and forth, fucking tear gas, the whole 9 yards. And then wade through all that conflict and something's wrong. And then Daniel Jackson gives the told you so lecture. And then that disclosure has happened and the result is on the front sidewalk. That's kind of brilliant, man.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and
That's a good idea, Harris. That's a really good idea.
Well, if he's the guy that is up giving this lecture and he's finally vindicated and publicly vindicated and all these things, does that not put him in that religious kind of leader sense immediately for the people on the planet? Like, that's the first thing people are going to start thinking about.
I think it's inescapable because either he will agree with their religious ideology, or he will be in severe, dire conflict.
Yeah, he's going to say, I hate this. Or also like, hey, I appreciate you liking me and wanting to follow me, but I don't want this. Look at it this way. He's going to try probably both angles. And we'll in this scenario, we'd see how far that can push him,
So, I have an uncle that has a sincerely held belief that aliens exist, but they're really demons.
Ooh.
They're really demons, and he is a. I think today I would personally think I'd call him a Christian nationalist. He's just the worst. He's a horrible family member. Haven't spoken since for years. But he has actually told me that if there's an alien life on another planet, they're all demons, and that's in the Bible. So think about that kind of mindset with the revelations that Daniel Jackson is giving, and I actually think of how we've been phrasing it as revelations. What's the last book of the New Testament? What was that? Revelations. Maybe that's Stargate Revelations.
That would be interesting.
Man,
that'd be a good show name.
On fire, right?
Yeah.
It's poignant. It makes sense. Ooh, I like it. That might be my favorite show name that anybody's come up with so far, honestly.
Revelations.
Well, okay. Obviously, we've sat on the religion for like 30 minutes talking about it. Not necessarily an easy topic to just gloss over or dive into, because I don't think we all want to be here for another hour or so. We'll probably hang out for another 15, 20.
I'm going to go in about 5 minutes. So
okay. So then, super quick thoughts on this, because Mark has brought it up a couple times here. The public revelation of the Stargate would be more than just a religious thing. There could also be a story talking about those who immigrated to Earth through the gate. How are Vala and Teal'c looked at? Is there a backlash? Are there everybody else that has been brought in as a prisoner from other places that the U.S. government or world governments are holding? How do they view them? When do they get released now that it's a public thing? Like, okay, do we give rights as the Earth? Is that a UN topic now?
Think about it. Do we afford humans that were snatched up tens of thousands of years ago, transported to the far-flung corners of the galaxy?
Right.
Do they still have access to human rights?
Yeah, it's a big.
I think it just becomes like a being rights thing rather than human, like infant being rights or something.
Right. Even though their culture evolved way different all over the place. They still have, according to the UN Charter, if anyone's following that these days, it's still human rights. I mean, now you could also argue that the Nox probably don't fall under human rights, but all the humans that the Goa'uld scattered everywhere to mine their aqua.
Yeah.
Man, that's a whole different kettle of fish. And then the other thing is, all the other countries, it's like, well, we want to get to the Stargate, and then you kind of get along, some of the more advanced expanse storylines, like we need more natural resources. We've already, the Belters have already really mined the asteroid belt dry, so to speak.
And it'd be more like there'd be people leaving. How do we deal with like the reverse of that? Of people from Earth wanting to go live out in the galaxy or to mine things or earn their fortune, or just because they're curious, or I just want to live on someplace that's not Earth. Or,
I want a condo on Teal'c. I'll be the first to admit it,
yeah.
Come on. How many shekels does that thing want to cost me?
Yeah.
Arnold just put something in chat that I think combines both the religious and the immigration aspect, which I think would be, I don't know exactly how you bring this up. There's so many different ways to bring this up, but it would be conscious entity rights. And the idea around that is, what is consciousness? That might be a question that Stargate would kind of try to have fun, maybe playing with and answer to some degree in the Stargate version of answering. But that would have what is consciousness in the way of ascension? What is consciousness in the way of human rights? Do we really give a Goa'uld human rights if they're a parasite inside of another being? Or do we get the Goa'uld out and then try both beings? Or there's a whole bunch of little like thought processes that you can go with that.
Which part of the episode where somebody was put on trial? I think his Teal'c was put on trial, but it was really the Goa'uld inside him that was on trial. But it was in Teal'c, and so Teal'c was put on trial. I forget the name of the episode. That's like season 5, I think, of Stargate. Where it was a conscious entity, right? But he committed crimes with the Goa'uld inside. And it wasn't him as an individual. So that's
the whole thing with Skara, and they had
right.
Yeah.
Skara was put on trial. That's right. Yeah, Skara was up to some mean shit, man.
Poor Skara.
That's Skara. Just Panther pickle. Skara.
Teal'c on trial? Never.
But there was an episode, we were talking about it when we were talking about it yesterday or whatever? Anyway, there is an episode where Teal'c is on trial for the crimes he committed as a prime.
Yeah.
The young man's disabled father, right?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't remember what the crime was, but yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. The Tolan had a switch so he could talk both to Skara or the symbiote.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Tolans think about it in their way, but how would we, as a human species from the planet Earth, think about it? I don't think we'd be like that if I had to guess. We'd fully separate the two. I don't know. Maybe we would have them on trial like that and say, hey, just switch off, and then whoever wins either gets to say, all right, you stay in the body or you get taken out.
All right, you guys, I gotta go.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah.
Have a great week.
Yeah, see you Saturday or Wednesday first, though.
Yeah, Wednesday, where we will talk about our favorite SG-1 scenes, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Okay. All right, bye.
Toodles.
And then there were two.
Literally what I was about to say.
Do you have any plans for what you're going to watch this coming week?
I do want to see. I'm going to go see 28 Years Later tonight, so I am excited about that.
Oh, cool.
Then we want to go see How to Train Your Dragon in 40X. I think we actually bought a ticket for that. I bought a whole bunch of Regal tickets yesterday. All the 5 that I can buy with my little discount for being a member, I have filled up completely right now. Surprise.
Oh,
come on, Wi-Fi. There we go. 28 Years Later tonight. Tomorrow, I'm going to go see Karate Kid. So that hopefully, I'm intrigued, not very excited. Also, I'm worried about it. Pixar's most expensive film ever, I believe, and their worst rated film before release, I believe. I'm going to go check out Elio Tuesday morning and see if that's any good. Hopefully. Sci-Fi Pixar. Fingers are crossed. But I don't necessarily have a whole bunch of hope. But fingers are crossed. Wednesday, though, we're going to go see, because both my roommates have off. So I'm Wednesday Stargate Outpost. I have to be out by 12:30, y'all. We might start at 10, just so we get that full, like, 2 hours and actually hit that. Because How to Train Your Dragon, we're going to go see 40X on Wednesday. And also in 40X, Wednesday evening, as a little household, we're going to go see the early screening for F1. And I am very stoked to see that at 40X.
F1 looks so compelling. I actually may get out of my house, put on pants, and go to the theater to see it. I mean, I'm really jazzed because I've read a lot about the custom cameras Apple built for the F1 cars during the filming, and I'm just wigging about it, man.
Because whatchamacallit? Oh yes, it's going to be so good, Monk. I'm so excited. 40X just riding around in the race cars with him. Ooh. Oh, Gigwise said, "Don't forget the pants." I forgot what I was about to say. Oh! I was just really excited about the cameras that Apple made for it. Like, it's not new IMAX cameras like Top Gun had, I guess, built for everything. Because, you don't have to build out new cameras for cockpits and planes every day. Surprise. Thank you, Top Gun, for being cool. But Apple willing to do that for F1 is amazing. And I hope Joseph Kosinski, the guy that's directing F1, that directed Top Gun Maverick and Oblivion with Tom Cruise, and Tron Legacy, of course, continues to do that cool, just techno stuff and bring all the new technological things that he can.
Well, the cool thing about it is we've gotten to a point technologically is to engineer a new camera is not that big of a deal anymore. There's a camera I'm looking at. It's 3D printed. It's a wide format for landscape. It's called Chroma. I think it's chromacamera.com if you want to look it up. And it's just 3D printed. You pick your lens, you put the lens on it, and it takes these negatives that's like 9-10 inches long.
Wow.
And so, but they're 3D printed. And we used to have cameras like that. The Fuji Film created a camera like that called the GA617, I think it was. Big monster thing, but they stopped making them. They make the film for them, but Fuji stopped making the cameras. So there's 2 or 3 small companies that make these cameras it's 3D printed, and they're amazing.
Yeah, I wonder if they have I'm sure they do somewhere have the blueprints for that, because I have a 3D printer. It might be a little.
Oh yeah, you can download these things, but for $500, I'm at 25.
I remember people talking about now they're fridge size or now they're phone size.
Well, what is it? The highest quality camera on this thing is like 40 some.
Oh yeah, somebody mentioned a second ago. 28 years later, was just filmed on an iPhone. Of course, it had some fancy lens on there, but all right. Better check that out tonight. See how good it is.
I mean, yeah, it's getting crazy in camera world. And one thing I see from photographers is a movement back to film, because there's so much AI out there. And I was playing around with AI images this last week. Mm-hmm. It's very difficult to get. I had an idea in my mind of a photograph I saw like in the 90s of this car, racing cars, an MG in this old garage with light filtering through the window. I tried for 2 solid days to get AI to get that right, and it never quite could. But the images it did produce were insane, really, really good. But from somebody that buys photography, that buys art, a collector, they don't seem to want something that's AI generated that everybody else and his brother can generate on their own.
Yeah.
So when photographers are going back to film, I don't know how you're up on cryptocurrency lingo.
Sure, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the negative becomes your proof of work. Do you see what I'm saying? Because that's just something you can't fake. Yeah, you can produce a AI image and then take a snapshot of that. But if you take out a loop and start looking at the grain, you'll notice that that's not a image that was captured on film. It was copied on film. So for art collectors, I think the movement is that the image has to be on film, generated on film. That way they know it's human built and not some computer thing. Because I think AI art is going to go the way of NFTs.
Okay.
Oh my God, Muggle, stop reading my mind. Damn. As Muggle so presently said, I mean, the fungible stuff, it didn't do well. So in terms of capturing human art, unless you're a big production from Warner Brothers, everybody knows that's from Warner Brothers, but still images, the negative becomes the token of the proof of work, in terms of blockchain technology.
Well, that makes sense because Greg and I have talked about it to a different degree, of course, but obviously we're both in the theater world a little bit more, Greg particularly so. The theater has seen a little bit of a rise again, which is nice. People actually want that tangibility of saying, okay, like this hasn't been messed with at all. This is all human stuff. Let me watch the humans do human things, which is nice sometimes, It gives people a little sense of security there.
Well, as I understand it, and I don't know if this is a real rumor or not, but James Cameron has been, I think, quoted that in the lead up in the first reel of before the movie starts, in the next Avatar movie, there will be a screen that says none of this film is using AI. He makes a disclaimer. Visual effects and everything's crazy, but it's still visual artists, and I'm sure there's going to be 2 reels or 3 reels of credits just for the visual artist.
Oh, about 20 minutes of just that.
Yeah, of just that. But that's kind of a statement when Cameron comes out. I mean, he's always Mr. Technology. He will grasp onto something. And when he rejects AI, damn, that's a statement, don't you think?
Jimmy C, if he, I hate to even think about it, but just we know how well that guy's brain works. We know it's just freaking at 100 miles an hour 100% of the time. I don't even want to think about it, but think about what he could do if he had AI. If he was willing to use it and willing to further it, like he has furthered the technologies we already have, we might as well live in the Matrix. I'm pretty sure he'd accidentally make the damn Matrix.
Yeah, at least in the artist community, they find it really offensive when we call it generative AI, because in reality, it's not generative. I'm trying to think of the word here. It's a derivative AI. It's based on someone else's work.
Oh yeah, generative
wasn't licensed.
Good term like that. Yeah.
Like the image behind me, I have the negative for that. And I always prove this is. I didn't just say put a rock in a desert field with clouds. I've got the negative, and I can prove that was created by a human. And I think human art is going to be much more valued than just something you can get off a Grok. I mean, I do find like the latest thing, the video AI stuff. I do think the Bigfoot videos.
The ones of them like vlogging and running down the
like Bigfoot blogger or whatever it is. I think those are hysterical, but it's not. There's just something about it that reeks of technology, and something's taken away from that, I think.
Okay.
I'm just the old guy shouting to get off my yard. I don't know.
Hey, I'm 25 and yelling at people to get off my yard for 5 years, but it happens.
I know.
You made me think of something real quick, and with all the little AI talk in the chat as well. Let's finish out with a little last topic here.
Okay.
With all the AI stuff happening, does new Stargate have to talk about AI? And if it does, and if it plans to have an AI aspect of things going on, are the replicators AI? Have we already dealt with AI? Are the replicators back? Do we even want to see more replicators in Stargate, or are we over that BS and it's time to let it die and live in the past?
Well, I definitely think the replicators were
true SGU
driven by AI. But in terms of is the series discussing it beyond some sort of villain or something, I don't know. It'd be kind of like a whole episode about Microsoft Word.
Yeah.
It's just a tool. And by the time you get to, streaming the film, whatever the topic was, is probably dead and buried. And, I do think, discussion, because, Terminator was a product, that movie, well, there was AI in it, but the AI really wasn't the story. It was the robot, And so I think in the culture, if we do a new Stargate, I think AI will be, in the vernacular, but it'll be discussed like, Word docs or Excel files, or it's just another tool they talk about without any really specificity. Like, Jack not wanting to fill out reports. You know. And certainly Ronan not wanting to fill out reports. But the byproducts, like the replicators, I think we don't want to see more replicators, but that was definitely AI.
Yeah, I think that was AI as well. I'm kind of with you in the sense, if we're going to touch on AI, it should be the tools and stuff. It should be all right. Because technically, we've dealt with the replicators in multiple galaxies. We know how to deal with rogue AI if it happens. I guess that would be a nice way to just kind of not gloss over it, but have an in-universe excuse to say, all right, AI's happening, but we don't need to sit on that topic when there are more poignant topics for today. Like we were just talking about immigration and religion in Stargate, like two things that don't necessarily need to be the most prominent talked about things in Stargate, but should inform the plots that are happening nonetheless.
Yeah.
No popcorn. No. The bad part is Brad totally was the person who made that thought even possible.
Brad, what the hell, dude? We're always here for you, Brad.
Always. The Raven.
That's all I got for today. I got to go run my Sunday errand so I can go to work tomorrow.
I'm right there behind you. I don't have Farscape on to do tomorrow. I can't speak to watch tomorrow morning. So y'all come watch Farscape with Sarah and I on Saturday instead. And until then, think about Stargate Outpost for this Wednesday. It's going to be fun. We're going to be talking about, I believe, all of SG1. So we have 9 characters we're going to pick scenes from. So 18 scenes for each of us that are going to be picking scenes. So we're going to be doing some YouTube search in the next couple of days. But it's going to be Teal'c, Sam, Jack, Daniel, Jonas, Cam, Vala, Janet Fraser, and General Hammond. What the hell is Hammond's first name in the series? I can't think of it. I was trying to think of it when I was texting last night. I was like, what is it again? I was almost at Don. I'm like, no, it's Don S. Davis. It's not Don Hammond. Harold Hammond? That'd be funny. George Hammond, thank you.
George Hammond.
Duh. Thank y'all. That was bugging me since last night. But yeah, those 9 characters, we'll pick our favorite scene from each one of them and what we consider to be the best scene from each one of them, and kind of have a little discussion based around each one of those. His Hammond was his first name. His last name is Cheese. Hammond Cheese.
Now I'm hungry.
Hey, I'm probably pretty hungry too. That's probably a good idea to get moving on out of here. So we will see y'all Saturday for Farscape Beyond, Wednesday 1st. And hopefully Greg and I can come back for Radical Wasteland this Friday now that Fringe Festival is getting a little less hectic. And June is kind of dying down. And it is time for a fun July, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Less crazy July for June.
July's going to suck. Calculus.
It's going to be. Oh, and you have a bunch of math that you have to do.
Calculus. Yeah. Hopefully, this is the last calculus class I'll ever have to take in my entire life. The first 3 sucked. I'm sure this one's going to suck even worse. So I saved it for last.
You could always AI the math questions. I didn't say that. Nobody said that. What? Don't tell your professors.
Well, now you upload your document. They use ChatGPT and Grok and whatever to scan your document to see if they actually created it. They actually they prompt for the question of the test, and they see the results back. And that's just something I got to do on paper, and that's a whole other kettle of fish. But yeah, ugh.
You know what? I was about to write it on my hand. Monk, I'm going to type it in here. Searching. It's a TV show, right? Because I do like this idea for the live theater stuff. Just reword it, Stormy. It always works. Or not. But anyway, that's it for us. Oh, it's a movie, y'all. Searching. Okay, I'm going to type that right after Monk. But wait. Is Stormy doing oh God, people are excited about your rocks.
So I'll just tell you guys here, I'm starting another YouTube channel based on photography. I was thinking about going back to the previous project that kind of spawned part of the name of SciTrek, SciWorks. But it was. I got too tired of arguing with people that the moon was not real, and so I'm just going to do an art channel now, not a science channel. SciWorks is still up and running, and you can go and watch the 30-some videos I created during COVID. But I think I want to do something that's just artistic that hopefully science deniers don't find anything to.
But there is no moon, man.
Oh, you're killing me.
Roland Emmerich told us so.
Oh, God. So anyway, yeah, I haven't. I'm not going to announce the name yet. I'm going to tell Harris here after we get off. But yeah, the next thing I'm doing is a photography channel, and it's going to be tips. It's just not going to be like me showing off photographs. It's going to be like how you can take a better photograph. We'll take a topic maybe per episode and discuss how you can make better photos without spending a lot of money.
Episode 1 is how to find phallic rocks in nature to photography.
Evidently, it doesn't take. That's not. I can do that rather easily, and I'm not sure why I'm so good at it.
Well, you go with what you know, right?
Let me pull the phallic microphone a little bit closer to my mouth.
Ooh. Modest is asking I can't speak. Videography 2 or just photo?
I'm just going to do photography. I'm just, there's people out there that know a fuck ton more about videography than I ever will. Now, used to know a lot about cinematography. I used to have an Arriflex 35BL that I used to lease out, but that's a long time ago.
A lifetime ago.
I might be doing live shows, the live shows will have to happen after graduation, but yeah, it's just going to be a show here and there. You'll probably see me more on here than you will be on the new channel.
Well, hell, do like once a month or every other month, just so there's like some kind of schedule, but you don't have to stress yourself out about it either.
And I'm not going to do the 30-minute shows. I'm going to do like 5-minute shows because that's something I can manage with my schedule these days.
All right. Well, Muggles had another little good idea for you. You should do the best pics you can take with your cell phone, or everything you can do with your phone on photography.
Yeah, one of the episodes that I've got planned out is the best camera you've got is the one in your pocket, the one you've already got. Don't get into the idea. It's actually called GAS, Gear Acquisition Syndrome. Don't fall for it. If you got a cell phone, you can take amazing photos. Amazing photos. You know, and if you got a second, I'll show you a really amazing photo you can take with just a cell phone. Hang on a second.
Okay, let's do it.
It won't be a dick, but I got to go find it. I know those of you that were looking for, more penis pictures. This is going to be very disappointing. So I've got that story.
Traveler, a fan film would be fun to make. A fan film would be a SciTrek fan film would be fun.
That would be, wouldn't it? Isn't it? Oh, there's a bunch of those, aren't they?
There are. I need to respond to Oliver, who is usually in our live chats. He sent another email. He's almost done, or maybe he is ready to go ahead and do a little Star Trek fan film. And he did it genius, which I think we might all be able to do, because it's hard to do a little SciTrek fan film with all of us, considering we're all spread out across, the entirety of the globe.
Yeah.
But Oliver did a really cool thing where he just pointed a camera at a TV and used the TV as the background, and he just acted along the TV, and it looked great.
Oh shit, it's too big. Hang on a second, I gotta edit.
You could do a reboot of Rocky. David's punning it up over here. I hate typing with Dragon Lady Nails. That's hilarious. If you take my searching idea, Harris, it's possible. Okay. What is it? I see searching right here. What is it on? It's where to watch. YouTube, Hulu, Stars, Amazon Prime. It's everywhere with a premium subscription. If it's on YouTube Premium, though, I do like to watch things off of YouTube. Everything just so easy off of YouTube. Let me see if they have it for free on YouTube. I do have premium.
Still, size limit is 5 minutes.
Searching movie. Can I just click it and watch? Oh, no, I need Stars. But also, I bet you it's on YouTube TV. Anyway, I'll figure that out after stream. But I really like the idea for, who gave us the Fallout New Vegas idea, the little poker table idea. Between that and the searching thing are my favorites. I really like the other one, too. It just seemed harder to do in a very short amount of time. NVIDIA has some awesome tools for backgrounds, and it's all free as long as you have the GPU. Oh, is this it?
Is it showing? Yeah, this is it.
Oh.
So I had this idea about 4 months ago, about this really red apple, white sands just sitting on the sand, And so I finally got a chance to shoot it a couple of weeks ago. And I got a red delicious apple because red, and the color red translates to black in black and white.
That negative?
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. And even with software, if you turn something, from a color photograph or a color JPEG to just black and white, the red always becomes black. So I went out to White Sands. I took a bunch of pictures with a Hasselblad, with a digital Nikon. And just because I wanted to experiment with it, I just took a picture with my iPhone. And this is
an iPhone.
This is an iPhone image. And, the thing that really makes it is I got lucky because this thunderstorm rolled in across the desert, and you see the clouds, and that just really makes it. But the idea that you need millions of dollars a year and all this really complex, expensive stuff to shoot something, you don't. This is an iPhone image. You know,
That
if you,
might be my favorite one you've shown us. Like, the sky behind it's just badass. I don't know how. Just grabbed an apple and sat it in a field. Like,
that was it. That's it. You know, and you know, you can take magnificent photos, and you don't need a lot of stuff. You know, you can just take great photos like this. Now, and I used a iPhone from the iPhone 4 all the way to the 14, up and through this last November. That was the only cameras I used were on iPhones. But I started to get, you know, I want to do this other thing that I can't do with an iPhone. And I got really frustrated. So I got a Nikon. But this is just, you know, so now I do the pre-imaging stuff with just a smartphone. And this is an example.
would that be something like Traveler? People would buy that. Like, would that be something that you could send into like Nat Geo or a place like that?
Yes, it is. But there's a ton more. I want to take the image from the film first because I got exact replica of this on film.
Oh, gorgeous!
You know, so, I mean, like I shot it with 3 different cameras. I had to dig a hole in the sand so the lens would be level with the horizon, so the horizon would bifurcate to the apple perfectly. It was a mess. It took me 2 weeks to get the sand out of everything. I mean, because the White Sands National Park is really gypsum. It's not silicon sand. So it just gets everywhere. My butt crack was full. And it's terrible.
You felt like an archaeologist just digging out the sand with little...
There's things I dug out, man, you don't want to know about.
I know the bugs in New Mexico are dangerous, so I really don't want to know. Stormy will have to have a place where people can upload their photos to him for his channel.
That'd be cool.
Isn't there like I think YouTube is kind of playing with the community pages a little bit, and they're making it almost a bit of a Facebook page to a degree.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, y'all.
Or just
but if that's the case,
they could just upload it to Blue Sky, send me the link, you know.
Oh yeah. Get on Blue Sky, the old Twitter's, Facebook page, wherever you find Stormy, at him, like, and send these things to him and just say, hey, can you put this on the new YouTube channel is like community tab or something like that, and just say, hey, this is, because that'd be a really cool thing if people just send you a bunch of photos. That's a bunch of good like community things where you can keep putting them in the tab. Say like, hey,
you know, anytime I could highlight an artist, that would be awesome. You know, get him in or something. That would be neat.
Well, because it's getting to highlight them, and it's highlighting the fact that you helped inspire them too, which is pretty damn cool.
But you know, anyway, you know, I see SciWorks. It was an educational thing, you know, and I think this is also an educational thing, and I think people making art is a great way to help de-stress our lives from all the bullshit that's going on. You know,
that's the truth. Yeah, like I really like that photo.
I've got one of the photos from this. I took like I put the apple on the left, on the right, upside down, far away, close to the camera, centered. I did a bunch of stuff. And so I'm testing out the quality of the prints of these various online stores, and I'm just seeing how the end product is. Some of this shit is really expensive.
Oh, everything is so fast sometimes.
Crazy expensive. Sorry, I got something in my eye, and it's not the same. No.
You just said you tried all the apple in different like positions and angles and stuff. Did it look better in different places on different cameras? Like, did the center look better on like a film camera versus an iPhone or something?
So after this, we can discuss it online after we get through the stream. There's probably the best photo I've ever taken in my entire life. And I like
the rock and I like the apple a whole bunch, and you've shown us some damn good photos in the past. That's setting the bar high.
Dude, when I got home and looked at it, I said, oh my fucking God, how did I do this?
Ooh.
So I'll show you that after we end the stream.
Okay. Well, speaking of, we are at 150 over here.
Oh, God.
Modest Traveler's been looking at the Canon R8. Final thoughts. Canon R8, yay or nay?
Anything from Canon or Nikon, especially if you're looking, are you looking for mirrorless mostly?
Traveler. Some UK urbexers use Sony cams that cost $1,500 and more. I've got a fancy Sony cam. I've got an Alpha 9 or whatever it is.
Yeah, the Alphas are really good, but you know, again, this was taken off of a.
But that's digital, not DSLR.
Right. Well, yeah.
He said looking for a good one for videos to make movies out of. So he's probably looking for a mirrorless, right?
Right. So for that, I think that would be okay. I mean, I got a Nikon for video and stuff. I got a Nikon Z8, and I got a crazy lens. It's a 24 millimeter to 400 zoom, which is insane. But if you saw any of my photos from the No Kings rally on Reddit, all of that was done with that Z8 camera.
Oh wow. Well, that is it from us. You know the right cameras to get. You know how Stargate should be brought back. Maybe. Could be brought back.
Could be.
All of these different things. One way or another. Join Sarah and I, and hopefully Matt and Jay, if they're available, on Stargate Outpost this Wednesday. You know we're talking some fun stuff. Join Greg and I to talk about some Fallout this Friday. And if Greg can't join, we'll actually do a nice I thought about doing it this past week, and I wanted to. Just had to get some things done around the house to actually solidify this house being done. But you can't tell, the office is in place now, which is nice. That being said, if Greg is not able to make this Friday, I will do it myself, and we'll just have a fun little chit chat about what kind of wastelands we need to radicalize in the old radical wasteland, you know?
Right.
And Saturday, Farscape Trion has been moved while it's summertime for Sarah's kids. So we're doing Saturdays instead of Mondays at the moment. And Sunday, we'll see you right back here for the next time on Sci-Fi Sundays. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all.
Love.
And go find some phallic rocks to film, y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all have a great day. Great week. See y'all.